with everything and just be like, oh, well, this is it. Even
Right.
if spirit will then sit you on your ass and be like, okay, we've kind of shown you
Right.
some.
So just to like that reminds me of another video that I had recently made about surrendering, the right way to surrender.
Mm,
In any of these things that you want, the point is to do what is in your power to get
I can't hear you.
friends, or you want more money, or you want a different job. Apply to the jobs, look for other job opportunities, go out and make friends. um, so do what is in your power, but then surrender to the rest. That way you can be at peace
Mm,
knowing if it didn't happen, you can't say like, oh, maybe it's because I didn't do enough or anything like
right,
that. You always know that you put in effort, but you only went to a point of what is in your control. If you go past that where you're doing crazy things like me actually moving my entire house and business just because I want to make friends, and you know what I mean,
right,
that's something that's like, okay, clearly this is an unhealthy desire. If I am uprooting my entire life just for this one thing,
right,
then something is wrong.
right,
But to know that you're on the right path and what you're wanting is okay, it should come in the way of, okay, I'm going to do this and this. And if it happens, great. If not, then I just know that it wasn't the right timing for me.
right, right. I think that's a beautiful way to look at it
Yeah.
because I don't think you should ever stop striving for your goals or desires, but I think there's points of understanding when it's probably not for you or not working, and allow yourself to let go of certain things. I think that's where our ego will get involved, or our trying to prove ourselves will get involved, and that's kind of people are not able to kind of detach, and surrender to whatever it is. Because you may want something doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work out for you. That's why we say there's many timelines, many paths, many decisions. You can pick at any one at any time, and then boom, doesn't mean it's going to pan out. Not wrong or right, not good or bad, just experiences. If you can just be okay with that. And I think our society, of course, says we got to do this, you got to be that. Um, I think too, one of the things as far as friends though that I was coming, what spirits kind of been showing me lately is even though you might come away from a lot of the people that at some point you will come back, they will come back, or you'll come back into contact with those loved ones or those people around you, or spirit will, send more people around you. And I had to really work through some stuff of what do I do with the people that I'm no longer aligned with? You know what I mean? Who I feel like I can't have conversations with, or I can't speak my spiritual shit. Cause I've had, my really best
Yeah.
friend, I love her. And she's like, when you start talking about some of this shit, I'm like lost. And I'm like, you know what? I understand because that's my whole life right now. My whole life is spiritual
Right.
stuff. What do you do? Are you a fucked up friend and just, cut everybody off and be like, all right, I can't talk to any of you guys no more? So I feel like what spirit's been showing me is once you get to a certain place, it's still accepting people for who they are. And maybe you start to understand that, all right, these are the spiritual people that I could group with, and I can speak about fucking this, that, and the third. And then I have people who I were raised with that I not necessarily can talk about any of that stuff with, but maybe I can go out with, maybe I can go to a concert with. Maybe we could do a barbecue
Exactly.
together. Maybe we could go shopping together, because it's not just because you're spiritual now, all of a sudden you don't like to shop, or all of a sudden you don't like to eat ice cream,
Yeah, no one person can fulfill every role. You
Right.
need different. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So maybe it's like just kind of understanding. And that's why I say the egotistical spiritualist will tell you different. Like if you have to just annihilate everyone because you're changing, and that's not it. You will disconnect, yes, because you're finding yourself. But once you've truly found yourself, it's kind of like, I'm good. I'm here. I'm good. So I kind of understand. No, I'm not going to be an asshole and just say fuck everybody, but I understand my place where everyone is. And I'm not trying to force anyone or convert anyone. So it's like, okay, we can still have a barbecue and hang out. I know where we're at. And I know that there's most of my spiritual people are virtual because it's just how it's been. Now I'm kind of branching out to make not really spiritual friends in Orlando. It just doesn't work that way. I got more people online. It is what it is. I don't
Yeah.
know. But again, very solitude person. I don't really like people like that. So I'm not going to call you every day. I probably will call you every couple months. I'm just not that friend that wants to talk to you every day. Like, if you call me today, probably don't call me for a couple months. I don't it's like, no, no, I'm not that person. I will never be that person. I wasn't that person before spirituality. I think before spirituality, I used to hang on the phone and just be like,
Oh,
okay,
that's
uh-huh,
okay.
sure. So I
Yeah.
know we're getting to the hour mark. Just what are some key things that you think someone who comes across the term shadow work that should be watching out for, looking out for, or deciding before cracking Pandora's box open?
Okay. So my advice would be at a point where you are willing to embrace the changes that are going to happen not only inside but in your exterior world, because as within so without, when you start
Mm,
changing what's going on inside, everything on the outside is going to change. So usually, from what I've seen, it happens when people hate their lives so much that they're, like I said, they're just at a point where they're like, I don't really care what happened, like just help me out of this.
right.
It would be nice if people didn't have to get to that point, but unfortunately that's usually what triggers this spiritual awakening.
Mm,
But just be at a point where the goal of self-awareness is more important than what you think you're supposed to have on the outside. You
right.
have to make yourself more important than these your job and whatever expectations you decided needed to be the way they are.
Yeah. That's a huge part. That self-love, that self-care. That's a huge part of it. I don't think you can do it without it. I
Yeah.
think if you don't have that or someone's not teaching you or telling you that, I think I've seen people quickly
Yeah.
fall with shadow work back into a darker place because
Yeah.
of that self-love, self-care, not having something in place to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To incorporate that.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, like before I did shadow work, I would have, my idea for myself was to be like a stay-at-home mom with 3 or 4 kids on like a farm, just being like a housewife in a house. And now I'm like contemplating if I want any more children at all. I only have one.
Right.
Like, you find out what you really like. But if you're at that point where you're still thinking, like you're still working on like being this stay-at-home mom or whatever
Mhm.
plans you have, and then you do shadow work and you're like, why am I unhappy right now? Why
Right.
don't I like doing this all of a sudden? You get scared. You're like, oh my God, my life is falling apart. Your life is supposed to fall apart because it's the illusion that you're breaking down. Shadow
Right.
work is to break through that unauthentic part of yourself. What it is that you think you want, but your soul doesn't really want. It's really what your ego wants. That is
Mhm.
all going to get shattered. So be prepared for that. But not to scare you with that saying, when you do that, you will realign with what your soul really wants, and that is going to make you happier than anything your ego has ever told you you wanted.
Right. Right. It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah.
Really quick before because I really didn't touch, but I wanted to just how do you feel shadow work entwines with twin flame issues?
All right. My phone, if my phone dies in the middle of this, that's what happened. My phone died. Okay. Oh dear. So your twin flame is meant to mirror, first of all, everybody in your outside life mirrors you. That's
Mhm.
the point. However, your twin flame is supposed to actually be the opposite of you.
Uh-oh. I think her phone died. Yeah, I think her phone died. Maybe, maybe not. We'll give a couple more minutes. I may have to cut that out. Spirit said no twin flame shit.
Oh, wait, can you hear me? I'm back. Am I back?
Twins, Spirit said no twin flame shit.
Wait, can you see me or hear me?
I can see you and hear you. I thought
Okay,
you were
great.
gone. I was like, oh no,
Perfect.
Spirit
Well,
said
it still might die. It probably was like, we gotta at least shut it down for a few seconds before we die. We gotta by ourselves. Okay, really, really quick. So your twin flame is actually gonna be the opposite of you because they're gonna trigger all of your issues. And the point of that is so that you can be self-aware. If you're not willing to be self-aware when you're with your twin flame, it's gonna fall apart.
Mm,
You need to see what your twin flame is bringing up in you and work on it. That's the point of them, is really self-development. It's like, okay, these mirrors weren't enough, so we're going to give you like the full 360 one.
right, right.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, no, we're not doing it. Okay.
Divine intervention.
Like real shit. That's a whole nother show that I am gonna I've done like 3 shows, I think, and I'm gonna do a 4th one. But really, really, I'm straying more towards the empowerment away from the whole twin flame dynamic because I think it's very damaging. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Okay.
Um, all right. So thank you so much once again. I definitely will be bringing you back for some other shit that we will talk about. Hopefully, you guys took something away from this. Ashley's contact information will be below wherever this is at. It'll be below in the description on where to contact her, connect with her, should you want to work with her. But also, I will be stealing her and bringing her over for a little bit of in Healing Beyond Humanity, which is the nonprofit organization, you guys. So, as always, sending you guys so much love, so much light. Until next time, bye.
Bye, everyone.